Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are back, and I am so excited to bring to you another interview for What They Play. I'm not going to waste too much time chatting with you right now because I'm so excited. The interview that we have today is with Mr. Robert Axelrod, the original voice of Lord Zedd from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I'm done chatting. You go watch the interview. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and I'll be back in a little bit at the end. What's going on, everybody? This is episode 11 of What They Play. My guest today is none other than Robert Axelrod. He is the original voice of Lord Zedd from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but it doesn't stop there. The breadth of his work is vast, and we'll get into that momentarily. But first, how are you doing, sir? Hello, deja vu. For those of you who don't know, we just had a little bit of technical difficulties on my end. It's my fault. The recording dropped out, so we're redoing the first 2 minutes of this. I do apologize, but as I mentioned earlier, the only reason this interview is actually happening is because of your kindness. I had talked to your manager, and something happened along the way that it dropped out, and then you contacted me personally, and here we are today. You actually are making sure this interview is happening. Thank you again.
Well, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself.
That is absolutely true, sir. Now, as I had mentioned before, we like to go a little deeper on the show. Something that, you know, the fans really appreciate. The people who watch this and your fans, they like to know a little bit more about the backstory, something that you may not have time to divulge into so much at a big convention or something. So the first question I have for you is actually, how did you get into acting? What led you down the path that you're on now?
Well, I think I always had it in me. When I was in kindergarten, the teacher brought in a big TV set that was all hollowed out. And one by one, she had the kids get into the TV set and entertain the rest of the class. So I got in there and I did a puppet show with my hands. I stole it from a comedian that used to appear on the old Ed Sullivan show, Senor Wences. And I did this puppet show with my hands like this. Hi, how you doing? Oh, you. To make a long story short, I got hooked into performing. The kids loved it. They were cracking up. So I don't know. It just struck me to do that on the spur of the moment. So I knew I had something in me to be a performer, and I was been doing it ever since.
That's actually amazing that your kindergarten teacher was allowing you time for improv.
Yeah, that was it.
That's great. So after you learned that you had this this desire to perform and entertain people, where did you go to school for? Did you go to a college that specifically helped filter you into this?
Yeah, well, junior high school had a course, and high school had an acting course that I took. But I learned most of my stuff doing outside work. I was a member of a company called Young Arts, and for like 3 or 4 years we did a play every summer. And schooling, I went to college and majored in theater and mass communications. So I took, it was performing not only in theater, but in radio and television.
Okay.
I didn't have a great program at Queens College, which is a city school in New York. So I didn't feel I was learning enough. So I was invited to join a professional theater company called 70 Grand. And I worked with a director named Norman Taffel, who taught a really comprehensive acting technique based on physical movement, because he was an ex-dancer. Okay. So that really gave me an education. And then out here in LA, I worked with a director named Fred Cook, who taught a very comprehensive cerebral acting technique. So the two techniques and all the stuff I learned by doing contributed to my skills.
So you did the thing of outsourcing, like you found someone that gave you this ability and then someone that gave you that ability, and you just put it all together as you went. That's I don't see that too much anymore. So I mean, you just went, outsourced what you want, found it, and made it your own, and that's really incredible.
That's it.
So obviously, I don't want to beat around the bush too much, but the thing you probably get asked most about, obviously, is Lord Zedd. How did that role come to be? Did you go to them? Did they know who you are and approach you? How did that work?
Sure. Well, the whole Power Rangers thing, I had been working for Saban for 9 years, so I was in their stable of actors. So when Power Rangers came down, I was given the role of Finster.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing Finster for the first season. And then when auditions came for the new monsters for the next season, one of the new monsters was Lord Zedd. I had no idea that Lord Zedd was going to be the next bad dude in town. I picked out Lord Zedd to audition for, and some of the other monsters, and I said, "Can I audition for Lord Zedd?" He said, "Sure." Scott Page, the producer, and so I took it home and worked on it, and came in and auditioned. I had to audition 3 times, and I finally got Lord Zedd. There's a whole story behind that I can get into, but
so you had to audition for it 3 times. That's actually fascinating to me. So did each time you have to do like a different type of voice? Because it ultimately sounds like Lord Zedd is pretty much just a more gravelly version of your natural voice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Well, no, I used the same voice. I just did it was the same paragraph that I had to read for the auditions. I just did it better and better.
Well, they must have really wanted you because they
blah 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 blah. So I didn't. I wish I had saved the audition piece that I did, but I didn't save the audition piece. So all I remember it was a typical Lord Zedd. We'll get those power punks type speech, and I had to audition 3 times because they didn't believe it was me.
Why not?
I don't know. I usually did for Saban the light, more high-registered characters, except for Scarface in Journey to the Center of the Earth. Journey Around the World, I think the series was called. Mm-hmm. So they were used to hearing me as Finster. They didn't believe that I could maintain that kind of voice for a long period of time. So, I had to prove it to them.
Yeah, because you mentioned your register and the pitches of your voice. So you also did Brainy Smurf in the Smurf film, correct?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a higher pitched voice. But when you compare
something like this,
yeah, when you compare that to a Lord Zedd, you really turn it on, and you really, I mean, you gave kids nightmares. Come on.
I'm doing my job.
To be, yeah, that's an amazing way to put it. Your job was to be as fearful as possible, or fearing as possible. Actually, funny story. My parents watched Power Rangers with me, and there a place called the Patriot Center where they did Power Rangers Live, and at the end of the performance of Power Rangers Live, a giant balloon of Lord Zedd inflated on the stage, so it was Lord Zedd growing. And I don't know if you recorded separate dialogue for that in particular, or if it was just like, excerpts taken from the show, but that stuck with...
No. We recorded a whole separate soundtrack for the live show. We did a mammoth 12-hour session where all of us were sitting in a circle, everybody who had dialogue in the show.
Like a table read.
We recorded it laterally from beginning to end.
Wow. Yeah, that
was all done separately. It wasn't excerpts from shows.
That's crazy. I remember that so vividly, and even they gave you these little lanyards that were like holographic, and at the end they asked for the audience to hold it out and give the Power Rangers the power to destroy Lord Zedd, and I'll never forget that. And actually, I'll put a link down below, but the entire live performance show is actually on YouTube. You can so people can go see it. That would mean someone would have had to bring in a giant shoulder camera with a cassette tape in it to record that, because there was no just easy cell phone back then.
No, they videoed that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, go ahead, sir.
I'll have to check it out. I didn't know they videoed that.
Yeah, I'll actually send you the links of... I think it's a fan who did it, though. It was somebody in the audience. So I'll send you the links when we get done here. But I want to ask you something, and this was news to me. But you took a little stint as a rock musician for about, what, 7, 8 years or something like that?
Yes. I played folk rock, soul music, anything that paid.
That was
to be a working musician at the time. I left acting. I did one play, playing a musician in a play that didn't go anywhere on Broadway, off Broadway, and but beyond that, I was into music. I left acting, which was probably a mistake, but it's made me more well-rounded anyway. I still play the bass.
really.
In fact, I just did a show last year at my repertory company, the Group Repertory Theater in North Hollywood, California, called That Love and Feeling, about the Righteous Brothers. And I was the bass player in the band. We did like 23 numbers.
Wow.
And I also had a part in the play as his music manager, his music director.
So that just stuck. That just still stuck with you. You still enjoy it. You still love it.
Bass playing skills for a theatrical endeavor.
That's great. Yeah, I had to ask you about that because I was doing my research and I was trying to get a little more information. When I saw that, I had to know what was the decision. But you pretty much answered that when you said anything that pays.
Yeah, that was my goal, to be a working musician, to play in clubs, and I achieved that. And then it was time. When I moved to LA, I moved to LA as a musician from New York City, where I was born and raised. And I just got fed up with music. Too many groups were breaking up, and I said it was time I had my hair down to my knees. I had beautiful, long, blonde hair. I wish the rest of me was that beautiful.
Oh, come on now.
That's what a girl said to me once. You have such beautiful hair. How come the rest of you is not?
Don't even talk to people like that.
I cut my hair finally and got back into acting, and I've been working ever since.
Well, that's super fascinating. I'm glad that we dived into that a little bit. My next question actually is about, maybe this is kind of a generational gap question. People may not even realize that it's you, but you played Jennings in The Blob.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Jennings. Yeah.
Mr. Jennings, correct. And was that your first biggest theatrical thing that you did in film?
As I recall, it was my first major feature film. I'd done a lot of low-budget pictures, but yeah, it was about my first major feature film.
It's definitely one that when you put in the genre of like classic horror, classic, kill movies like that, you can't speak it without saying The Blob in there. You can't. It's iconic.
It was a good remake that I don't think they advertised it enough. It didn't do that well in the theaters, but it was a good movie.
Well, that can be the killer of a lot of things. Advertisement and the money that they put toward that stuff can make or break everything in this day and age. So, completely understood. I'm going to jump around real quick, and I want to say that the channel my YouTube channel is primarily a video game channel, and we do these interviews. So I do want to ask you a kind of off-the-cuff little question to bring it all back around. But what is your favorite video game that you've ever played? Because I know the fans of my channel are going to want to know this.
I'm not a big video game
That's okay.
player. I just don't gravitate to that sort of thing.
Never had a day in an arcade?
Games. I did one called... oh, now I forgot the name of it.
That's okay. This is an edited show. We can figure it out.
Dawn of Darkness.
What is it called?
Dawn of Darkness.
Dawn of Darkness.
Dawn of Darkness.
Okay. You say you did a voice in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I played the leads.
Oh, okay. Well, I must have missed that one.
Good fella.
Let's see. All right. I do want to ask you, and this is actually when I put out the word that you were going to be on the show, we had a couple fan questions that came in, so I'm not going to credit this to one single person, but it's a majority question. But people wanted to know, what is your favorite role that you did play? Because some people thought it might be Lord Zedd, but some people thought it might be something else.
Oh, I get that question a lot. My favorite role is the next one I'm going to do.
That's a good way to promote it.
Lord Zedd, of course, is one of my favorites, of course, because it was the longest term role I ever did. It was for 4 years, so it was regular on a series that lasted a long time.
Mm-hmm. And still talked about.
On camera, my favorite roles: The Blob. I did a movie called Repo Jake that I had a favorite role in. I played the lead bad guy. His name was Lincoln King, and I wrote a little bit of the movie. He asked me to improv a scene, so I wrote out the scene. He said, "Okay, let's shoot it." So I don't know if I got writer's credit. I think I did get writer's credit. There's a lot of favorites I have, so it's
But I like your answer, the original answer of the next role that you have. That's a good one.
Currently working on a TV show called Betrayed. Another day next week.
Is it going to debut in 2017?
It's going to be on the Discovery Channel.
Wow.
I wrote it down. Wait a minute. The Investigative Discovery Channel.
Okay, and that is this year.
I don't know. I think it will be this year.
Okay, I guess that just all depends about production and how things go.
I'm sure it's going to be sometime in 2017.
Okay. Now, speaking of your roles, I have to say, you hit a funny bone with me when it comes to your role as Terry Bruges Hiplo on Check It Out with Dr. Steve Brule. That is the most ridiculous character and hilarious character I think I've ever seen. Some of the stuff they had you say. Can you tell? Huh?
Those guys are nuts. They're very funny.
They are nuts. So how involved were they with the whole scene that the scenes that you were in?
Oh, hands on. They're hands on. They directed it.
Okay.
Yeah, they directed it and wrote it.
Yeah, my favorite segment is when you did the movie review for I Saw a Dang Stranger. If people don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put a link to that video down below. Everyone should watch that. I don't even know what you said. That line that you said was just word salad, but it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we covered your favorite role that you've ever played, and we've covered all that stuff. But I do want to ask you, when it came to doing Lord Zedd, when it came to a close, when that role was no longer going to be portrayed in the future, tell me how that felt. Like, tell me how that felt as far as like a closing of one chapter and a beginning of another one. Because I know people talk about how they get roles all the time, but not everybody talks about when the role is finished.
Well, I was a little depressed, but I had Digimon.
That's true.
So I had another show. Another series, so that eased the pain a little bit. But sure, I missed it. It was a big chunk of income that I was not going to get anymore. Basically. But other things filled in. Because, truthfully, I was sort of neglecting my on-camera career while I was doing Lord Zedd, because I was so busy with Lord Zedd, and I was making good money, even though it was non-union, unfortunately. Right. So I started concentrating on my on-camera career and getting more on-camera jobs.
And how does it make you feel to know that all these years later that you're still synonymous, like Lord Zedd is still something that people remember and people still adore?
Wonderful. I mean, I had no idea this convention thing that I do was in existence till 2008. My true love and everlasting love, Cheryl Mandel, got me into conventions. She said when she suggested looking up these conventions, I said, "Oh, nobody remembers Lord Zedd. It was years ago." She said, "No, you're mistaken. Try it." So I booked the convention, and I was amazed. I think the first convention I did was TsubasaCon, I believe, which I'm going back to later this year, returning later this year. And I was amazed at all the fans. So I was hooked. So I've been doing the convention since 2008.
It is one of the most beloved characters.
It's so heartwarming to be remembered. Grown people come up and said, "You made my childhood," or "You gave me nightmares." It was terrific. I loved it.
Well, like I told you earlier, one of my most vivid childhood memories was going to the Patriot Center and seeing the giant Lord Zedd and the voice echoing, your voice echoing throughout the entire arena through bass and speakers, and that's amazing. I still have the lanyard. It's in a box. I still kept it because it's that meaningful to me.
Yeah.
So could you repeat that, sir? I'm sorry.
I'll have to sign it someday.
That'd be great. You did say you were coming to Virginia and West Virginia, which actually led me to we're going to kind of close this out now, and I'm going to ask you what's next for you. You did mention that you had some other projects in the work for Investigation Discovery, and then what is next for your conventions? Like, where are you going to be? Where can people come see you?
Oh, let me get my list. I don't carry these things in my head because it's too much to remember. I'm going to be in Orlando this weekend, in Orlando, Florida, at Anime Festival Orlando. Then hopefully I'm going to Hampton, Virginia. They haven't sent me the plane tickets yet for Anime Mid-Atlantic. I don't know what's going on with these guys. Then I'm going to Mighty Con, which I just did in Iowa. They have another one in Chicago. Then I'm going to Stamford, Connecticut for Lock City Comic-Con. Mighty Con is July 15th and 16th, and Lock City is July 22nd. Then August 5th and 6th in Amarillo, Texas. August 25th to 27th in Madison, Wisconsin. You mind if I just read this off?
You are plugging the heck out of this schedule. That's great.
Arizona, September 1 through 4. That's Labor Day weekend. Then Hamilton, Canada. I'm looking forward to that one. September 30th to October 1st. And then TsubasaCon I'm returning to in Huntington, West Virginia. October 13th through 15th. And I'm working on another one for November that hasn't closed yet, so I don't want to mention it. And that's it.
You're so busy.
Yeah.
I don't know how you keep up.
It's enough to keep me busy.
That's good. Yeah, we don't want to go stir crazy, and you definitely have got a champion schedule ahead of you.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, Mr. Axelrod, I want to say thank you again so much, and for everyone else out there, you can keep up to date with Mr. Robert Axelrod at Twitter at Rob27Axelrod. Let me say that again, at Rob27Axelrod. That's right. And on your Facebook page at facebook.com/Lord Axelrod. I don't even know what to say other than thank you for being such a big part of my childhood. Thank you for being such a big part of making this interview happen. It's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay, you guys, thank you for watching the interview. I really appreciate your time that you took to watch it, listen to it, however you consumed it. Again, I'm going to read off my paper here. If you want to go check out more of Robert's stuff, what you do is you go to Twitter at Robert27Axelrod. That's at Rob27Axelrod. And then if you want to go to his Facebook page, it's facebook.com/Lord Axelrod. Again, facebook.com/Lord Axelrod for more information. A big thanks again to him because he definitely reached out to me and contacted me and told me that he wanted to do the interview after I initially tried to contact him through his manager. That fell through. He took it upon himself to talk to me personally and make this happen. I'm floored by the kindness. I'm floored by the generosity and just all-out good person. He's a great guy. He's done a lot of cool stuff, and I guarantee you, if you were a 90s kid, Robert Axelrod was a part of your life in some way or another. So maybe stop down by a convention that he's going to be near and say hi and thank you and all that other good stuff. But it's going to be the end of the show for today. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm sorry about the hiatus that I've been on lately, but I promise to come back with a little bit more often, and we're going to just keep flowing. We're going to keep going. But this is the end of the video. That means there's just one more thing left to say. You know the drill. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, become one of the Titans, and I'll see you guys in the next video.